The Five Nights at Freddy's games are known for many things: creepy atmosphere, jump scares, and in-depth complex lore. But one side of the games and community that is never really showed until later was the sheer difficulty of the hardest custom night challenges. In this series of videos, I went through and beat the 2020 custom night challenges, or their difficulty equivalent, in all 4 of the first FNaF games. I made these videos to not only share my experience with the challenge like usual. No! But also as a guide that looks into how each game really works and the optimal strategies to conquer the hardest nights, as they can get much more complicated and difficult than you would expect. With that out of the way, let's go back to where it all began. Alright, please, Freddy, come on. If you clicked on this video, I'm sure you have a basic understanding of how the first FNaF game works, but if you don't, here's a basic rundown of the first game. Feel free to skip ahead to the timestamp on screen if you feel you already have a good understanding of the game. The general gameplay of FNaF 1 revolves around maintaining as much steadily decreasing power as you can while fending off the 4 main animatronics. You have a camera system at your disposal to keep track of any animatronic movement, along with 2 doors and 2 lights on either side to spot and stop incoming threats. Each of these actions consumes power, so the best logical strategy is to save as much power as possible while stopping any incoming threats. However, it isn't that simple. The threats of this game are the 4 main animatronics: Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Bear 5. And Freddy, and you'll need to know how to deal with all of them in order to survive the base game. Bonnie and Chica are the simplest of the 4, so we'll start with them. Bonnie starts on the show stage and will slowly progress towards your office from the left side of the building. Eventually, he'll arrive at your left door and can be seen from the lights. Close the door and he'll go away. Like Bonnie, Chica starts on the show stage, but she progresses towards your office through the right side of the building. She'll arrive at your right door eventually, just close it and she'll go away. Freddy will progress towards your office through the right side of the building like Chica, but cannot be seen from the lights. Looking at him on the cameras will freeze his movement and keep him from moving towards your office. Freddy is a bit complicated though, so we'll get to him more in the strategy segment. Foxy is an oddball character in almost all of the games, which we will get to later, trust me. But as for FNaF 1, he resides in Pirate's Cove. Looking at him on the cameras will keep him at bay, but if you fail to look at him enough, he'll make a mad dash for your office. If you close the left door, he'll slam into it and steal some power from your office, then go back to Pirate's Cove. Do this for 9 minutes, and 1 full FNaF night is complete. With the basic explanation of the game out of the way, we can now go into how the game really works with the movement opportunity system. Before going over the strategy, it's really important to understand the movement opportunity system. In all 4 games in this video, the same general system is used to determine animatronic movement. The movement opportunity system is split into 2 key concepts: intervals and AI values. An interval is the amount of time that the game will take before giving an animatronic the chance to move. Across the different animatronics in all of the games, all of these times are different, but for this example, we'll just be using Bonnie in FNaF 1. Bonnie has an interval time of 4.97 seconds, but we're just going to say 5 seconds, round it off. This means that every 5 seconds, the game will give Bonnie a chance to move. Here I have a timer at the bottom of the screen that I try to start at the same time that the night starts. Unfortunately, it's off by about 0.1 seconds, but that doesn't really matter here. As the night starts, the first interval of 5 seconds begins. As you can see, once the timer hits roughly 5 seconds, Bonnie has a chance to move, and it's a success. Determining this chance is where the AI values come in. Every time an interval passes and an animatronic has a chance to move, the game will generate a random number between 1 and 20 for that animatronic. If the randomly generated number is less than the animatronic's AI value, then the animatronic will move. But if the number is greater than the animatronic's AI value, the animatronic won't move. Back to our example with Bonnie here, let's say Bonnie's AI value is set to 10. Bonnie is on the show stage and the first 5 seconds of the night passes. The game generates a random number between 1 and 20 and it comes up as a 7. Since 7 is less than 10, Bonnie then moves to the dining hall. Another 5 seconds pass and another random number is generated. This time, it's 16. Since 16 is greater than 10, Bonnie does not move and must instead wait another 5 seconds. Think of it like an animatronic rolling a dice to see whether or not they get the chance to move. This is also why Bonnie and Chica can seem to camp your doors for extended periods of time. They simply aren't rolling high enough numbers to move into your door and then back into the show stage. Now you might recognize the numbers 1 to 20 that I've brought up in this explanation. That's because the custom night mode allows the player to control the AI value of the animatronics. This is what makes 420 mode so difficult. With his AI value set to 20, instead of Bonnie needing to wait to roll a dice to move, his AI value is always greater than or equal to the random number between 1 and 20, meaning every 5 seconds, Bonnie will move no matter what. Like I said earlier, this system is used in all of the first 4 games, and though it isn't very important here, since FNaF 1 is actually really easy, it's absolutely critical for the next game, so I figured I would explain it here. Now that I've explained the movement opportunity system, we can move on to the actual 2020 strategy. When the game first came out, players used the right door strat in order to beat 2020. This involved closing the right door every time you pulled up the cameras, and since Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica can only kill you when the cameras are pulled up, this would stop Freddy from jump scaring you. However, there are 2 big problems with this strategy. First, the power usage. Having the right door closed and the cameras up at the same time would result in 3 bars of power usage, and would almost always result in the night ending in a power outage. In these power outages, you have to rely on Freddy's song being longer than the time you have left in the night. The only problem with that is, Freddy's song is completely random. It can be anywhere from 6 to 50 seconds, approximately. The second big problem with this strategy is Foxy. Foxy has an interval of 5.01 seconds to move, and depending on whether or not Bonnie or Chica is at the door, you might not be able to check him within that 5-second window. As you can see in the gameplay here, you have to spend a lot of time in the office in between camera checks. This causes him to move into an attack phase. Like I explained earlier, when Foxy does run at your door, he steals power from your office. What I didn't mention was that Foxy will drain more power on subsequent attacks, adding 5% each time. This, in combination with the extended camera usage, meant that 2 or more Foxy visits was almost certain death, as you wouldn't have enough power to beat the night. Almost every attempt would end with you praying to Freddy to not kill you after the power goes out. This was the first strategy to ever beat 2020 mode, and became the most iconic because Markiplier did it. Oh my god! But players didn't know one crucial detail that would make the game so much easier. A common misconception in the early FNaF community was that you needed to be looking at Foxy on the cameras to keep him from running to your office. But pay close attention to this line on the Night 2 phone call.
Also, check on the curtain in Pirate Cove from time to time. The character in there seems unique in that he becomes more active if the cameras remain off for long periods of time.
The game doesn't actually check if you're looking at him in Pirate's Cove, just if you're using the cameras. This means that you can focus your attention on something more important, that being Freddy. Freddy does care if you're looking at him on the cameras, so by holding the camera in 4B, then by flipping the camera up and down between door checks, you can completely freeze Foxy and Freddy. Freddy can't move into your office with the camera watching him, so note that if you change from camera 4B and the right door is open, Freddy will enter your office and kill you. If you're still worried about Foxy and not being able to actually see him move, whenever Chica comes to the right door, you can use that opportunity of the right door being closed to look at the cameras for whatever stage Foxy is in, then act accordingly. This strategy is significantly easier and was the one that I used in my run. If you wanted proof of how easy this 2020 strat is, I beat Night 6 in 2020 mode first try. Please, Freddy, come on, please. Freddy, I beg everything I have. You're my favorite animatronic. I love you. I'm gonna poop your nose. Come on, please. Bro, 2020 mode, first try FNaF 1 2020 mode. Who's this guy? Who is this guy?
FNaF player number 4.
I'm the FNaF player number 1! Throughout the making of this series, FNaF 1 was by far the easiest and most consistent of the 4 games, especially with the modern strategy. However, the same cannot be said for the other 3 games. I'll be releasing videos on those over the course of the week, so if you enjoyed this video or found the guide useful, be sure to look out for those. If you enjoyed this video or found this guide at all useful, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps out a bunch, especially for a small channel like myself. I'll expect the FNaF 2 video to be releasing within 1 to 2 days, so look out for that. But as always, thank you for watching. Peace.